Shields up, Armbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Dauntless. As you may or may not know, today marks the official release of Dauntless 1.0. The game has been in early access for quite some time, and I've been following its development since it was originally announced in the Game Awards all the way back in 2016. My last jaunt into the game had me pretty much hooked until I slayed all the behemoths available. I still hate Shroud, but as it turns out, repeatedly yeeting my axe directly into its face proved quite effective, after a little bit of practice, that is. So to mark this momentous occasion, the Dauntless team was kind enough to sponsor this video and provide me with early access to an account that had some of the goodies you're going to be experiencing today already unlocked, namely the new weapon, Aether Strikers. So naturally, I jumped right into Ramsgate, ran to the new NPC, the Scarred Master, and tried to get my hands on a pair of shiny new weapons, but unfortunately, she said no. So I had to go back and talk with Katerin, who was able to convince her that I could be trusted with some recruits strikers. After I distributed multiple concussions through the behemoth population, though, I was then allowed to start crafting my own strikers, at which point I set about pummeling anything with a pulse in an effort to better understand these weapons and hopefully save you all some time in learning them with this guide. Before we begin, since this is a sponsored video, if at any point during this presentation you feel a sudden urge to go crack some behemoth skulls wide open, remember that Dauntless is free to play and there's a download link in the description of this video. If you'd rather play on consoles, just search for Dauntless on your PS4 or Xbox One and it should be fairly easy to find. The Switch version should be arriving later this year. The game will also feature full crossplay and cross progression, so you can play with your friends regardless of the platform. Now, on to the guide. Okay, let's take a deep dive into the Aether Strikers. This weapon essentially provides the playstyle that most of us have come to recognize as the monk archetype in RPGs. The Strikers deal blunt damage, which means they are particularly good at stunning behemoths, especially if you are able to land blows in the head. So you'll be pummeling behemoth face with incredible speed, but as with most weapons in Dauntless, button mashing isn't going to get you anywhere. So let's start by talking about your three basic combos and what their overall purpose is. The first combo is Focused Assault, and it consists of 3 light attacks, and upon successful completion, which basically means you hit the behemoth with the last hit of the combo, it generates the Focus mantra. This can be seen on the top left-hand side of your UI as the first square with an eye lights up. The mantras are essentially a resource you use to power up the Aether Strikers. However, after you generate a mantra, you have a limited amount of time to either use it or continue to power into your next mantra. Otherwise, it's going to expire and require you to start over from scratch. So the Aether Strikers are very much a momentum-based weapon that requires you to stay on the offensive at all times to unlock its full potential. This is also why the weapon is so fast, has very little animation commitment, and includes a built-in gap closer, which we will discuss after we go through the rest of the combos. Your second combo is the Spirit Barrage, which consists of a light attack and 2 heavy attacks, and upon successful completion grants you the Spirit Mantra, which again can be seen on the top left-hand side of your UI as the second square with 2 eyes lights up. You don't need to perform these combos in succession, even though they are definitely designed to flow into one another, so if you want, you could open up with your Spirit Barrage instead of Focused Assault and get the Spirit Mantra first, although there's no particular advantage or disadvantage to doing it that way. At this point, you might be wondering what exactly are all these mantras for, and we'll get there, but first, let's talk about the last combo, the Mighty Squall. This one is a very simple one. It just consists of 3 heavy strikes, and like its predecessors, upon successful completion, which again just means you need to land the last hit of the combo, grants you the Might Mantra, which can be seen on your UI as the third square with 3 eyes. Despite each mantra having a different name, they all serve the same purpose. They all fuel the same techniques. The reason for their differentiation is because you are expected to do all 3 combos to get all 3 mantras, as opposed to spamming the same combo 3 times, which would only generate 1 mantra. So now let's talk about Surge. This is an ability you can use by pressing your special button, that is Q for mouse and keyboard, or the right bumper for controllers. It is important to note that this attack only becomes available after you generate a mantra or perform a technique. Surge is a dash attack, which allows you to close gaps and press the assault, which is extremely important to prevent your mantras from expiring. Also, due to the fact that you can direct this dash however you want, it can also be used as an escape tool should the need arise. Surge also refreshes the expiration timer on your mantras, so you can and should use it to extend your combos. As I am writing this, I realize this whole thing sounds way more complicated than it actually is, so please just bear with me. I promise it all makes sense in the end, and it's quite a satisfying weapon. Now let's talk about techniques. These are the reason you are generating mantras in the first place. You have access to 3 techniques: Tempest Form, Karma Breaker, and your weapon special, which can either be Adamant Bolt or Titan's Crash. Techniques are performed by pressing and holding your special button, which is essentially the same input as Surge. So if you tap the button, you get Surge. If you hold the button, you get a special technique. Now, Tempest Form requires and consumes 1 mantra to activate, and it is basically an attack speed buff. Karma Breaker requires and consumes 2 mantras to activate, and it is a special dash attack that places a debuff on your target. It has a small build-up, so make sure you have a window before you use it. Adamant Bolt is essentially Vegeta's final flash, where your character sends a concentrated beam of energy towards your target. It is a manually aimed ranged attack, and it is your best single target damage technique. Titan's Crash is kind of like a melee version of Adamant Bolt, however it deals a little bit less damage to your main target in favor of also damaging other targets nearby. Anyhow, at this point you're thinking, so if I just want to bust out some massive deeps, all I gotta do is get 3 mantras and final flash behemoths? Sign me up, sounds like a ton of fun, right? However, there is a catch. Both Adamant Bolt and Titan's Crash deal 100% more damage if you also have Tempest Form and Karma Breaker buffs active. Luckily, it's fairly easy to identify them in your UI if you just look at your buffs bar, but it does mean you'll have to manage your mantras and your buffs in order to get the most out of your special attacks. So what would be your best sequence of attacks in the most optimal condition? Like, let's assume a stationary target giving you all the possible openings you could dream of. Here's what I would do from my limited testing. Consumables like Assault Tonic and stuff is not included. I'm just focusing on the weapon capabilities. You're going to open with a Focused Assault combo, which consists of 3 light attacks, and gain the Focus Mantra. After this, you're going to press and hold your special, which will trigger the Tempest Form technique buff and increase your attack speed while also consuming that mantra you just generated. After that, you're going to perform another Focused Assault combo and follow it with a Spirit Barrage combo, which is basically 4 light attacks and 2 heavy attacks. This will gain you the Focus and Spirit mantras. At this point, you will press and hold your special, which will perform the Karma Breaker technique attack. So make sure that you are facing your enemy, and this will consume both your mantras. After that, assuming that you actually landed your Karma Breaker, you will perform a Focused Assault combo, followed by the Spirit Barrage combo, followed by the Mighty Squall combo. So that is a combined total of 4 light attacks and 5 heavy attacks. This will gain you the Focus, Spirit, and Might mantra, so all 3. At this point, you will press and hold your special, and this will perform your weapon special with maximum damage since both of the technique buffs should be active. After you do this, you can perform the 3 combos again, followed by the weapon special for as long as both the technique buffs are active. After one of the buffs falls off, you'll want to rebuff by doing the first steps that I've mentioned, and then go ahead into doing the 3 combos and follow it with the weapon special. Naturally, this is the most optimal possible scenario, and in actual practice, you'll find yourself needing to adapt your combos to maintain your buffs as you build up to your final flash special move. So here's a couple of final tips about this weapon. You don't have to perform the combos in the order I mentioned previously. You can generate the mantras in any order you see fit. In fact, sometimes you might want to open with the Mighty Squall instead because it deals more damage, which leads to more stagger potential, but also more animation commitment since it is the 3 heavy attacks combo. The techniques don't rely on specific mantras, so you can perform Tempest Form with the mantra from Mighty Squall if you want. It's not about which mantra is available, it's about how many mantras are available. Don't forget to use Surge to extend your mantra timers and press the assault. This is a key aspect of playing this weapon. And also remember that performing your weapon special doesn't consume your technique buffs, just your mantras, so as long as your buffs are up, you can combo your way back into Final Flash. Overall, I found the Aether Strikers to be tremendously fun. They still won't yank me away from my yeet stick, but there's something nice to fall back on whenever I feel the need for a faster playstyle.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
If you never tried out Dauntless due to concerns over its monetization practices with it being a free-to-play title, I mean, as you know, I don't really play that many free-to-play games myself precisely because I'm extremely wary of microtransactions. All I can really tell you is that up until this point, I've never seen any major red flags in the Dauntless store. They do have a hunt pass, which is optional, but does grant increased mastery and experience bonus loot, which basically speeds up your progress through the game, but in my experience, your skill as a slayer is the only thing that really matters when you're fighting behemoths. You can put the best gear available in the game in the hands of a new player, and he is still going to get his face pummeled by a regular Gnasher, which is like the most basic monster in the game. The Hunt Pass also has a bunch of cosmetic rewards like this Sweet Monk outfit, but even if you don't get the Hunt Pass, by simply playing the game during the different seasons, you'll still level up in the free track of the Hunt Pass and earn cosmetic rewards as well. If at any point you decide you want to get the Hunt Pass, progression carries over immediately and you receive all the premium rewards from all the previous levels. But that's pretty much it for this video. I'll be following up on this soon with a build guide for the Aether Strikers, and I'll see you guys in the Shattered Isles. If you enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like if you like my content, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification like once every full moon or so. Leave me all your comments and feedback in the comment section down below. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.